All right, so as we were talking about that, Derek, and we welcome everybody back, discussing the pace, and you spoke about how the pace is different with Sacramento and Indiana, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, the way they got up and down the floor. We saw that even last night as the Sixers fell to the Sacramento Kings in the final game of their 4-game trip. We saw it certainly with the Indiana Pacers, where so many people did want Daryl Morey to acquire, even going all the way back to when Doc Rivers was here, and there were those people trying to read his lips when he would talk to Doc Rivers on the sideline in the Indiana Pacers uniform, get me out of here, kind of thing. People wanted Buddy Hield in this situation. So as we talk about the pace, Tyrese Maxey is just as fast, if not faster, than those guys. Number one, what's the difference there? Is it more of the personnel that's surrounding Tyrese Maxey in this moment, minus Embiid? And then secondly, there were many people that would talk about how the game slows down when Joel Embiid is out there on the floor. And there seems to be a big difference when we speak about pace. Yes, he's a big fella. He doesn't run up and down the floor like a gazelle, but he does move up and down the floor, and he changes how defenses have to focus on him, even in transition. So those two things I want to throw at you as far as the difference with Buddy Hield.
Yeah. And again, sort of like to finish off where I was, and I'm not 100% sure where that will be when the show is eventually posted. But I mentioned over the last 8 games, he was shooting 29% from 3. Mm-hmm. He's actually shooting 46% on no dribble catch and shoot threes over that same 8-game stretch. So it's really his off the dribble jumper that has completely fallen apart. When Embiid comes back and you're building around Embiid, maybe getting double teamed or forcing stops and getting out in transition, those catch and shoot threes, I think, will translate. This is part of the reason why, even with him struggling as much as he is, I have confidence that he will be a good fit around Joel Embiid when he does eventually gets back, because it's not just the double teams that Joel Embiid gets, it's the stops that the Sixers get because he's on the floor, it's the rebounds that they get that will start the break. I think all of that will help Buddy Hield. And this is a big part of why I say, when it's not that Buddy Hield is a great player or a perfect player or even an above average player, his skill set fits very well with Joel Embiid, and with him out, everything, all of his weaknesses are accentuated. I also think, to your point, Tyrese Maxey's fast. He's never been super great at creating transition opportunities for other players. He's real good at getting the rim for himself, but he doesn't necessarily, whether it's a hit-ahead pass or even just a driving kick, he doesn't create like, say, James Harden does in transition. Right. Yeah. And that's just something I think he's going to have to grow over time. But also, I don't care how fast you are, if you don't get stops or don't get offensive or defensive rebounds boards, or allow other teams to get to the free throw line, you can be the fastest person in the world, and Tyrese is as close to the fastest NBA players you can get. You're not going to get that many transition opportunities. In terms of him being slowing down, I think it's two different things. Well, first of all, he doesn't slow them down this year. Like I said, 27th in pace. They were a higher pace team with Embiid there. But there's a difference between being methodical in the half court and creating transition opportunities. He will create transition opportunities because of his shot blocking and his rebounding and just getting stops on the defensive side of the floor. But when those transition opportunities don't lead to a successful transition bucket, the game will slow down, yes, because you're going to run the half-court offense through him. So I think he can both slow the pace down in the half-court and speed it up in transition, even if he himself is not necessarily running and leading the break.
Yeah, and look, when the ball does swing, when Maxey does create those opportunities, yes, the high beams are always focused on the rim. That's where he's looking. He sees a pathway for him to get to the basket and finish, as he should. That's what we also still talk about his development as a point guard. We praise him for what he has done, figuring out how to be a point guard, be a scorer, be a distributor. Also just drawing defense for other things to happen for other people. And that has been really, 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 really good. And that's exactly what you want to see. But then when the ball swings, we saw where Buddy Hield has some open opportunities and he's missed. That's just the streakiness of it. You can do that at any level of basketball, from pickup basketball all the way to the NBA. That just happens. He has to see the ball go through the net. He has to find a way to get into the rhythm, knock the ball down, knock the shots down, get to the free throw line sometimes. Because, look, while defenses have figured out how to defend him when he puts the ball on the floor, that doesn't mean he can't. And that's also the confidence part. It's not where we get to the level of the Tobias Harris conversation, but it's just simply having that confidence again to continue to do what you did successfully with this team, knowing that when you do have somebody like Tyrese Maxey that will generate some offense and attention, you're going to need to be able to get that ball, because we've talked many times about the blitz coming at him, getting the basketball out of his hands. they have to snap those passes to get to the open man, and oftentimes that is going to be Buddy Hield. Even our guy, the bull RJ, talking about he just wants to see some floppy action out there, see some different plays run for him to create some easy stuff for him to get going.
No, I think that's fair. I would like to see more off-ball movement from Buddy, and I don't necessarily think that's Buddy. I think that's being called. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And they ran a decent amount of that stuff early on. I think if there's one change I would make, and I know a lot of people may want to put the ball back in Buddy's hands. With the way he's shooting off the dribble right now, I'm not sure that's necessarily the solution. But certainly off-ball movement, he's capable of that. I would like to see more of that because, like I said, when he's had catch-and-shoot threes, even during the slump, he has made them. You need to create more of them.
Absolutely has to create more opportunities for him. If he gets it going, we all know lethal. The offense can be lethal, especially if and when Joel Embiid comes back. And we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. Sixers do have 10 games left. The play-in situation is all weird right now. The standings with the Pacers in the 6th spot with Miami and the Sixers. And then you're holding off strong, really like Heisman holding off right now, the Chicago Bulls. And then the Atlanta Hawks also in the mix. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into all of that conversation as we continue to go along. And certainly, again, still all funneling back to, in order for these things to happen, you definitely need Buddy Hield to find his shot.
For that, we want to tell you about Olipop. We got a fridge of the stuff right here behind Devon. We've got some cases out in the studio. I had some back at my house yesterday or earlier this morning when we were doing our previous show. Olipop is the world's first functional soda with a classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients to support your gut health. Olipop is a new kind of soda with only 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of fiber per can. Olipop is available online and available in almost 30,000 retailers nationwide, including the most recent launch at Wawa stores. Olipop's debut in Wawa couldn't be more of a match made in heaven. A delicious, healthy drink meets a convenience store, both adored by a cult following. I certainly support both of those stores.
No question.
Don't need to talk about my coffee habit, but certainly Wawa helps with that. Now Olipop helping with the beverages. The 2 flavors debuting in Wawa are classic root beer and strawberry vanilla, the 2 most popular flavors. I actually had the what did you have last night when you were drinking?
That is the watermelon.
Okay. I had the classic root beer. I really like that one. I think that might have been my favorite flavor so far.
Yeah, we have some cases dropped off here, so I'm going to try that one.
Like I mentioned before, I've long been addicted to soda. I come in almost every day with a can. So when Olipop became a sponsor, I figured it was worth a try. So I can get that taste I'm familiar with, but with a more nutritionally conscious way. Olipop uses functional ingredients that combine the benefits of prebiotics, plant-based fiber, and botanicals to support your digestive health. 90% of Americans consume more than the USDA's daily recommended added sugar intake of 30 grams. Sweetened beverages, like soda, are the leading source of added sugars in the American diet, and Olipop is much lower in sugar than conventional sodas, with only 2 to 5 grams of sugar and from natural sources. Use code PHLY20 for 20% off your next Olipop order. That discount only applies to one-time orders, not to subscription orders. Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com and Amazon and available in almost 30,000 retailers nationwide, including Wawa, Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite, and GoPuff.
Let me just turn around and look at some of these flavors. I'm sorry, folks. I have to put my foot up on the table. Bad Achilles. Look at that. Cherry vanilla. I'm interested in that one. Tropical punch, lemon lime, cherry cola. They got the vintage cola. I like the cherry cola more than most. Maybe not more than most because they obviously they keep making it, so it's a thing that people like. I'm in. I'm definitely in. And look at the cool fridge, folks. I mean,
and the cans are cool. That tropical punch can makes me wish I was Kyler right now. Instead, I'm here talking about Buddy Hield.
And Buddy Hield. Let's get to Buddy Hield because this is what I want Buddy Hield to do. I want him to, as I had my foot up
chill
on the table, I want him to choose chill and get one of these great Coors Light bottles. Just sit back, relax. You're home. You're back from the road trip. You're chilling, and you choose chill with your Coors Light. From day-to-day annoyances to the big stuff, like missing shots, turning the basketball over, not going to the playoffs. That's Detroit, Washington, Charlotte, San Antonio, not Philadelphia's problem. It's easy to get worked up. So there's a better way to chill, right? A chiller way. Turn your team's loss into a parking lot dance party, to a cold swim in Lake Michigan, You do that. I'm not doing it. Play a game on the beach. I'm in on that. And of course, light a bonfire instead. That's choosing chill. And when you choose chill, reach for a cold Coors Light. Well, you get frustrated after a loss like that. And you just really want to sit back. And if I could, I mean, we can speak to Buddy Hield, and I don't know if I can offer him a beer and he'll take it, but I'm telling him, and since we do know people in the organization, they're probably like, look, Devon was telling you this is one thing for you to do is just go ahead and chill. So go ahead and chill. Get yourself a Coors Light, buddy, or whether it's sitting around talking to the team, talking to everybody, talking to the coaching staff. Hey, how can I get out of this? You sit back, you watch your film, you have this in your hand, and you're all good. Just one, because you still do have to drive home unless you have a car service to get back to your spot. And when the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies on your can or your bottle. Coors Light is cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. And when it's time to chill, open a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. So when you choose to rise above it all, when you're going to calm down, you get angry about something, choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. That's all, buddy. That's all you need, man. It's all good. Relax. It's all good. They're going to need you for the stretch run and the postseason. Need it.
They are.
Definitely
I mean, he really will be maybe one of the 3 or 4 most important players for this playoff run. They need his shooting out there. They need him to compete defensively and hold up enough to give him minutes. I think he's a very important player and you need to get him back on track.
Oh, he is absolutely important. And I think that, look, he's been in a lot of situations. He's played in playoff series. He's played in playoff games. He certainly gets what he needs to do to get out there. That's just the frustrating part about it. But when you laid out those numbers, 9 points on average right now, also with the 9 points, 29% from behind the 3-point line, you know there's more in there. He's better than that. And for right now to snap out, can he get to 15 on average right now? Can he get to right back? For him to get to the 40+% 3-point shooting that you want to get him to, right now you just need to get to the league average. Get to 37, 38. Knock those down. Knock those in those big situations where you're also knocking those down and you're forcing a timeout. You're extending a run. You're opening things up now for Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey and Kelly Oubre. And maybe even Kyle Lowry, once the ball swings and he's wide open, he's knocking those shots down. Whatever it is, he just needs to unlock and get back to it. And whether that's, as RJ was talking about, some more floppy action, some more on-the-movement things that we've seen, from him. You just need Buddy Hield to get past it. Real Time jumps in real quick here on the super chat and says, would you rather have the OKC rebuild or the Sixers?
Oh, it's not even close.
Thank you, Real Time.
It's not even OKC is in one of the best positions in terms of team building I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous of them having a chance to have a plan and see it through and do so at their own timeline and not having either the league or ownership panic and get involved. I think it helps that they are in a smaller market. I think it helps the fact that Shea got out there and was able to show his value early on, whereas Embiid was theoretical for 2 years. And maybe because of that, you didn't see the progress that the rebuild was making. And I think it helps with the fact that they just had more hits than the Sixers did in the draft. But they are in one of the best team building positions I have ever seen a team be.
Now, they've been criticized a lot because of, to your point, how long it's been taken, no league interference
and they were really
at all.
Conservative, we'll call it, with Shea early on with his
acquiring
injuries.
Al Horford and other veterans and then sitting them, right?
Yeah.
There were a lot of fans wondering why are you not doing the same thing that was happening here in Philadelphia? So there was to your point, I'm in agreement with you. So is Philly Insider Podcast. RJ says OKC as well. I'm with all of you, but there's been a lot of pushback on it. It has quieted down because now we're starting to see really everything turning around and like, oh, this team is really good. But you're right. Having Shea come from LA and being able to play right away.
Yep.
That kind of calms a lot of that stuff down. Yes, Ben Simmons was on the floor, but Ben Simmons had
but by the time Ben Simmons was on the floor, like Hinkie and that crew had already been pushed out, and they
Exactly.
had said, we are
Exactly.
transitioning to winning, and they stopped making long-term decisions and were focused on the present. So yeah, I don't even consider that necessarily part of the Sixers rebuild.
And look at the young guys that they got too, right? They get Williams, they get Shea, Chet Holmgren, whatever you want to say about Josh Giddey, talented young player to figure out what the future is. And then you have some others. You can make some mistakes there and trade some players away. That's absolutely. And the other part that I'll give him credit for too, I did not see Mark Daigneault as a legit head coach in the NBA. I was like, I think I know a lot of coaches. Who is this guy, and what qualified him to be in this spot? You knew who Brett Brown was a little bit coming in here, but they hit on the head coach too.
Yeah,
they hit on the head coach too. So they've done everything right.
And again, it's probably easier for Mark to go out there and try to win with Shea than it was with Tony Roten and Brett. But yeah, no, for sure.
Please don't trigger me with the Tony Roten.
I knew that would trigger you. I knew it.
100 miles and running, folks. 100 miles and running. The ball would be in the 10th row sometimes, and you never knew what was going to happen.
Yep.
You never knew what was going to happen. All right. As we talk about where the Sixers are right now and some of the things that they need to do, there are 10 games left after last night's game, and Indiana's in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. And with them being right there, you would hope that they got some help last night from the Clippers. Clippers, though, did what they did against the Pacers, just like they did against the Sixers on Sunday. Right now, Pacers are currently 2.5 games up right now. Pardon me, 1.5 games up on the Philadelphia 76ers at 41-32. Sixers are in the 8th seed, where the Miami Heat have a half-game lead over the Sixers, 39-32, 1 game back of the Indiana Pacers. So as much as we talk about the Sixers possibly playing the Miami Heat, the Heat could also catch a wave, catch a hot streak, and Indiana could fall back, where you're still maybe looking at the Sixers on the road, but it might not be Miami. It could potentially be against the Indiana Pacers. Right now, the Sixers are 7 games up on the Chicago Bulls. That's a good thing at the moment.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much close that one.
Yeah.
Close the door on
No,
that
sorry.
one.
My math is wrong. 5 games up on the Bulls.
Even still, 5 with 10
at
games left. Unless the Bulls go 10-0, I think the Sixers are in a pretty good spot.
Yes, they're in a pretty good spot. So right now
and
we're
if
looking
Bulls
at...
go 10-0, I will eat a shoe on live stream.
That would be interesting. I don't want to see it, though. I don't want to see that.
Made that bet once. I probably shouldn't do it, but I'm pretty confident on this one.
pretty confident on this one. In that one. So we're looking at right now 6, 7, and 8, Pacers, Heat, Sixers in some order by the time the regular season ends in April. Man, we talked about this a little bit. The Bucks have created some space from the Cavs in that 2-3 matchup that we were looking at of who's there. The Knicks, by the way, are only a half a game back of Cleveland for that 3rd spot. Dante DiVincenzo broke the Knicks all-time record of knocking down 11 threes. He scored 40 points, beating down the Detroit Pistons like many teams have done this season. With that, though, what are your thoughts on the chances of the 6th seed? Is that eating shoe worthy that the Sixers could jump back into the top 6? But we're looking at Pacers, Heat, Sixers in some order. If you're looking at these 10 games, man, we've discussed it plenty of times about how difficult the schedule is. This is a tough road. They're probably going to be a play-in team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to put a shoe on it. I'm not quite that confident
Don't put
in
a shoe on it.
Strange stuff could happen, especially if Joel Embiid comes back. And that's sort of the unknown is like you can look through the Sixers' remaining 10 games. Like, when would Joel Embiid come back? The truth is none of us have a good idea because I think the Sixers are going to be real quiet about this until he is pretty much ready to go, because I don't think they want to overpromise and underdeliver in this situation. So I think they're just going to be quiet and quiet and quiet. And next thing you're going to know is you're going to hear that he's doing full practice and he's coming back whenever he's ready cardio-wise. Like, I just don't think you're going to get a update until they feel really confident about it. So that could end up being like in a week, or that could end up being 2 days before the end of the regular season. We just don't know. But if he comes back earlier, that would certainly help. And then maybe that 6th seed is back into play, especially if something happens with the Pacers, whether it be an injury or just poor play. But I would give the Pacers a really good chance, 85, 90, maybe even 95% chance of finishing ahead of the Sixers.
Yeah, so if we're looking at that, how do you, I look at this matchup right now against Miami or even Indiana, just being on the road. If the Sixers could somehow jump into that 7 spot where they host that game, especially if Embiid is on the floor, you don't want to play in that second one. Now, does anything change when you look at the 3 spot with New York versus Cleveland? Because I would lean more towards, they're going to beat Cleveland in the series, or they have a better chance. Sorry, I don't want to, because they played well against them in the regular season. They've had their ups and downs with the Knicks, losing 3 of those games against New York. If you're looking at that in that 3 spot and somehow you do get the 6, you probably want to play Cleveland more than you do New York.
Probably. That being
Although
said,
you can still beat the Knicks.
Yeah, that being said, outside of the Celtics, if you give me Joel Embiid back and playing at 85, 90% of Joel Embiid,
you like his chances against anybody.
I don't fear anyone outside of Boston. And that's why when people are like, well, why would you even bother coming back? Well, because if you finish 8th and you win 1 game, next thing you know, you're playing the Bucks in the first round. You have a chance. It's not a great chance. I wouldn't make them the favorites, but you have a chance. And whenever you have a chance with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, you've got to take it, especially if there's not a huge risk of re-injury. And I think that's one thing, you're hearing a lot of people say like, oh, shut him down because it's best for his long-term health. Every conversation I've had, especially given the amount of time they've given him to come back from this one, coming back now isn't a significant risk to his long-term health. The risk for his long-term health was a removed cartilage. That's already gone. Coming back now, I don't think is adding that much more risk to it. Not zero risk, but not much risk. And it's always going to be inherently there. So I don't think this is like a shut him down for 8 months. And
I totally agree.
I think people
totally agree.
Sort of conflate every knee injury as the same. I don't think that this one requires that much of a recovery window. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I think you'd probably prefer the Cavaliers a little bit. But I wouldn't, and we're talking now about a second round matchup. So that's even, let's put it this way, if they come out and they beat the Bucks in the first round, you're talking about a second round matchups. I wouldn't have too big of a concern because you just beat the second
against
best team
anybody
in the Eastern Conference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You've given a chance for Joel Embiid to come back. You've given a chance for Joel Embiid to show that he's back into his regular season form. And he's also succeeded against a pretty tough matchup. Yeah, that would be a good outcome.
Yeah, that would really be a good outcome. And that's the best case. Of course, getting the 6. If they can get the 6, they're in a very, very good spot because you do avoid Milwaukee and Boston. Although you may not fear Milwaukee, it's still the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis can take over a series just with the best of them. The same thing certainly for Joel Embiid, but we just don't know his health. Now, Giannis, is dealing with a little bit of health stuff right now where he's missing a few games here and there because of injury. But in this case, if they were able to get the 6 and get that 3 matchup, Cleveland or New York, they're in a pretty good spot. That said, 7 is ideal. 7 is ideal because you take that when you don't have to play that second game against the loser of the 9-10 matchup, and you do get Milwaukee to start things right off. And guess what? You're going to have to be on your game. They have not been in this position for the past 6 seasons. They have, or seven playoffs already. They have not been in this position for the past 7. They have advanced to the second round outside of the bubble run there.
Yep.
That's everything else. They've been to the second round. So they haven't had this kind of adversity facing up against them for a long time. They're going to have to be on their game. Now, they've had some good tune-ups where it hasn't always been Washington leading to Atlanta with a great pathway to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and a real chance of getting to the NBA Finals. They've had some really good first-round matchups. This is going to be the toughest challenge for them should they do that. Now, I know we still have 10 games to go, but we're just looking at it right now. Folks, get ready because this is a real thing. They're going to have to tighten up and really tighten up. They're going to have to win the games against the teams that they should win, even without Joel Embiid on the floor. They have to win against these basketball teams. They have to take down, as we look at the schedule. The Clippers are going to look for revenge against the Sixers on Wednesday. That's tomorrow back here in Philadelphia. We know that. But when you face off against Cleveland, that's going to be a tough matchup. But you've played well against them even without Joel Embiid. You have to beat the Raptors on Sunday. They had no RJ Barrett, no Emmanuel Quickly, and that lineup that I watched last night when they took on the Nets, I was like, well, who's that point guard? I know that guy, but he's not. The Sixers shouldn't have to worry. Even then, I'm in my Nets mode right there, and I'm like, well, we shouldn't be worried about this guy here. We shouldn't be worried about that guy right there. Nets beat them. The Sixers should do the same. Now, quickly, I don't know what his injury is. I have to look back and see. RJ Barrett, we know that, unfortunately, a tragic passing of his younger brother. That is partially why he has been out trying to, get back and integrate it into the team concept and being around something other than having to deal with that. You have the Spurs on the road. You have the Pistons and the Magic, who are maybe in that spot of locking in a certain seed, but you also are in your mode of, we have to beat everybody in front of us here right now. And the last game being the Brooklyn Nets, which, I hate to say that. The Sixers have to do their part, handle their business, and hope that some other things happen on the other side with the Pacers and the Heat. We looked at the Heat schedule last night, and the Heat have some winnable games. And we know Jimmy Butler down the stretch is a problem. He is a problem down the stretch in these situations where the Miami Heat, he locks in, and playoff Jimmy is a different animal. When you look at the Indiana Pacers and the rest of their schedule, they have Chicago on the road tomorrow. So right now, when you're looking at that, you can hold off the Bulls, so you would want to see Indiana lose to the Bulls. They have the Lakers, Nets twice, Thunder, Heat, Raptors on the road, Cavs on the road, and the Atlanta Hawks on the road as well. So their schedule is not all that sweet. And we're still talking about a 41-32 team, by the way. They can lose some games. They can fall down in those standings.
So I just looked it up. Basketball Reference has playoff probabilities of where they project teams will finish. They currently give the Sixers a 54.4% chance of finishing 8th, a 29.6% chance of 7th, and a 16% chance of jumping into 6th. They give them a 0.1% chance of falling to 9th. So when I said earlier that you can pretty much cross off falling behind the Bulls off the list, that seems pretty close to true. I'm actually surprised there is a 16% chance of jumping into the top 6 still. That is probably more than what was I saying? Might have to take back the eat a shoe thing.
Yeah.
Might have to take that one back. Not medically probably wise to eat a shoe. So strike that one from the record. Nobody heard it. There is hopefully something happens with the stream and nobody has a record of it. Because that does not seem like a smart thing to do. 16% is higher than I was thinking. I'm not sure
That's
I
like a
agree
real
with that.
chance.
But if you look at the Sixers' actual strength of schedule, they actually have one of the easier schedules left now, in part because the really hard part, this West Coast road trip, is in the rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
In part because they have some tough games coming up, yes, but they have some comically easy games as well down the stretch, especially those last 5 or 6 games are really easy. So there's probably some guaranteed losses in there, especially if you're playing without Joel Embiid, but there should be some borderline guaranteed wins in there as well. So that was higher than I expected, and yeah.
Same with the Pacers.
Yeah.
Same with the Pacers. They do have Cleveland, Miami, and that's fighting for positioning. While they do have the Lakers, they have them at home. And the Hawks are still – the Hawks, I would imagine, if they're going to be in that 9-10, they would want to jump the Chicago Bulls. So that last game of the season could mean something for both teams, and they have to play that one out. So there's a chance. So 16%, I'm surprised by that as well. We have to talk a little bit about Joel Embiid also, and the chances of him coming back, what the team might look like, and if they get into this spot where he might be. Just a little bit of an update. And before we do that, I got to tell you that as I'm sporting the bucket hat. I'm
jealous. I'm gonna have to get a bucket hat.
You need a bucket
hat? Might
hat?
have to be a thing. I don't have a bucket hat currently.
See, that might have to be a gift to Derek. Get him a bucket hat, or we can get some of our people to send along a bucket hat, like our good friends. They gave us T-shirts. They gave us a nice box of our great Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. That's our good friends from Manscaped. Yes, Manscaped. If you have a bucket hat because you want us to chill, you want us to relax, you want us to feel clean and not sweaty.
I am so interested in where you're going with this intro.
Stay tuned.
Very, very intrigued.
Stay tuned. I feel like I'm a pro. So since I've been doing these things for a long time, yes, Manscaped, if you want us to feel cool, you want us to feel very relaxed and, free. And also dealing with the sun. You're out there, you're jogging, you're out there working out. And if we're going on the beach, let's say we have to travel in June because we're on the road in sunny Los Angeles taking on the Clippers in the NBA Finals. When we do have a day off and Derek and Kyle are finished writing, we've finished doing our shows, and we want to go to the beach, you know what I want Derek to go to the beach in? A Manscaped hat, a bucket hat. so he can let everybody know that he is clean shaven. Yes, the episode right now is brought to you by the spring cleaning champions, Manscaped. This season, make sure to groom your carpets and the drapes with the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Clear out that winter bush with Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 and watch your confidence just bloom like the springtime flowers. Embrace the season and join the 10 million men, myself included, worldwide, who trust Manscaped. I trust them. With this special offer, go to manscaped.com and use code PHLY for 20% off plus free shipping to get the great 5.0 Ultra Lawn Mower. Derek has one. Needs a bucket hat to go with it when we're on the road. After using Manscaped, I can finally say, and I hope many of you can too, that you've caught the spring fever. Introducing once again the season's champ, the Lawn Mower 5.0 Ultra. It also has features of the LED spotlights to guide you through the darkest winter debris so you don't have any mistakes as you navigate with confidence in your delicate area. The 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little bit off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. So just like when you're at the barbershop and you see them changing the blade heads all the time, the same thing for the Lawnmower Ultra 5.0. The same thing. Same thing. So, you hate making a mess? Don't worry. This bad boy is waterproof. Shave in the shower, in the bath, the ocean. That's why Derek needs the bucket hat when we go on the road. Love this thing because it also comes with a compact case where it's easy for you to travel. You can go everywhere you go. Spring cleaning doesn't just apply to nether regions. You can also full groom your experience with the Manscaped Signature Beard Hedger Pro Kit plus Handyman Electric Face Shaver. Whether you're looking to craft your signature look or clean up that neckline, these are always the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PHLY only at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code PHLY at manscaped.com. Nothing like a little spring cleaning in your pants.
We also want to make sure we tell you about Game Time. Like I said, James Harden is in town tomorrow. He says he doesn't care about Philadelphia. They have bigger things to fix. He's not wrong, but you still might want to go there and show him how you think about the end of his Sixers tenure.
That's tomorrow.
If you want to do that, Game Time is the way to do so. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. And hey, if you save a little time buying tickets, you can spend that time maybe making a sign, finding a creative chant to yell during the game. Whatever you want to spend your time with, you will have more of it because of Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. With Game Time, you get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And you can buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set, with tickets sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Devon, you seem like a guy who has a cleaned out inbox. Like it's probably sitting there at 0 right now.
That's not.
No?
No, that's not true. Sometimes it just gets away from people.
Okay.
Man,
It's getting away from me for the last 20 years then.
I have, let me see. As you say that, I'll check live here and check it out. And
you're a very organized person.
Am, but this one I couldn't I've tried, and they've changed the settings on certain ones where, you know, you can say, all right, highlight the entire thing and just wipe out everything, or type in certain name.
Whenever I try to do that and I hit select all, it just times out. Gmail's like, nah, man, you've waited too long.
15,000.
Okay.
In this one email, 15,000.
Yep. All right, I misjudge you. That's fine.
What's yours up to?
Oh, I have no. It's probably more than that. It's actually not representative.
It's insane.
Like, once a year, I just go through and I move everything to a to-do folder, which I don't know why I label it to-do because I'm never going to do that folder. But I get it out of my inbox. I'm like, all right, this is going to be the year that I keep my inbox at 0, and it never happens. So it's probably less than it should be, but I'm sure it's over 10,000.
Yeah. It's bad. And I've tried to clean it out. Yeah,
It's
it's
impossible.
bad. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Because they throw so many different things at you.
It's all those assholes who just send you emails that you barely want and never stop. By the way, go to allphly.com. Rich Hoffman has an incredible email newsletter. Worst transition in the world, but this is actually an email you want. I love Rich. I love what he does with the newsletter. As a former newsletter writer myself, keep your inboxes organized so you read the stuff that's important to you, and there's nothing better than Rich's free PHLY newsletter.
Another great transition that we're going to do here is go back to Dave Dewar in the chat, and he says, throw down some Coors Light and then go weed whacking.
No. The order of operations on that one is definitely wrong. Definitely wrong.
Also, Liam says, Devon, the people are asking for more bucket hat shows. I'm going to get Derek a bucket hat. I'm going to wear mine. We're going to force Kyle to wear a bucket hat. He makes us wear those stock up, stock down visors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Bree's going to have a bucket hat.
If we have a matchup, a playoff series against the Heat, we will absolutely go to South Beach with bucket hats.
No question. Yep. No question about it. And we're going to do live shows on the road, and we'll take our bucket hat on the road with us, too. By the way, we are going to be on the road.
We are.
On Friday.
Yep.
We're going to be at
Deke's Barbecue.
And check out at the allphly.com events page. Yep. Get the address, and we hope it's a Friday night. It's a Friday night. It's in the city. Come hang out with us at Deke's Barbecue. We got the pregame show. We have we're going to watch the game, of course, there at Deke's, and then we're going to have the postgame show as the Sixers take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have had the upper hand on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, right now, if I had to predict, I would say it might not go in the Sixers' favor, but things could change by the time we get to Friday. We hope to see you there on the road, as we will be at Deke's Barbecue on Friday.
Have you looked over their menu yet?
I've had it before, so
okay.
No. What are you seeing there?
Oh, there might be some ribs in my future.
Oh, there no doubt
might be some ribs in my future.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. The sides are good. I've had them in the past, so yes. Deke's Barbecue.
Or it might be a pulled pork. I don't know. I'm still debating, but there'll definitely be one of those
chicken,
two,
little barbecue chicken as well. Yeah, you can get it all, man. Some barbecue chicken in there. Love it. Love it. I've had it before, though. It's very good. We're not BSing you. It's very good food.
I've never had it, so I'm like legitimately looking forward to it.
I would tell you the truth.
Right up my alley, though.
Yo, no, it's really good. It's really good. So we hope to see you on Friday, Deke's Barbecue, once again. So come through, come hang out with us. We're also going to have a watch party live here from this studio on Sunday for the Sixers Raptors game.
Yes, sir.
Where you could sit here, watch us nerd out, watch the game, yell, go Rick, go get him Rick when he does something. If he gets some time against the Toronto Raptors, I hope he will. And he gets a breakaway dunk. You can see me leap out of my chair, screaming, go get him Rick. And we'll have some fun. So Deke's Barbecue, once again, Bree was there. She checked it out also. So, on Berkeley Street this Friday night, come hang out with us. We do need to kind of look at the Joel Embiid situation with 10 games to go. Because looking at some of the chat, and I was looking at our guy, RJ, and RJ was talking about how you guys keep saying he's coming back. He's not coming back.
Why are you giving RJ some more? Just amplify his trolling, man.
I like the conversation.
He's here every day. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's always
He's trying to pull some buttons. Look, or push some buttons. Pull some strings. No, that doesn't work. Push buttons. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Look, Joel Embiid is coming back because Joel Embiid wants to come back. He had the surgery to come back for this playoff run. Like Kyle has mentioned plenty of times, like when Kyle spoke to the doctor before the surgery, the point of getting the surgery, ideally, in a perfect world, a doctor would tell you, go, give it 6 weeks, see how it feels, and then we'll figure out the surgery. See whether or not you can recover from this without removing part of your meniscus.
Yep.
The reason you do the surgery right away is so that you speed up that timeline. Because if you sit there and you don't get the surgery and it doesn't work and you have to get surgery, you've wasted 6 months, or 6 weeks, you've wasted 2 months, whatever have you. In this case, yeah, you lose part of your meniscus, which isn't great for your long-term health. The benefit to that is you get back on the court quicker. The only reason you would do that is to make this playoff run. It's not a big con. They're not trying to swindle you out of ticket money.
Nope.
They're trying to get Joel Embiid back on the court. If you look at the history of torn meniscuses, it has a really good track record of being a predictable 6 to 8 week kind of injury. Am I telling you that it's 100%? No, there's always something that could happen. But the reason we talk about Joel Embiid returning is because they have every intention of Joel Embiid returning. And the reason Joel Embiid would return is because if you get an 8 seed or a 7 or 8 seed, which, like I just went over the probabilities, is a really strong chance of happening, you have a chance to win one game, capture that 7 seed, go against the Bucks, and with Joel Embiid, who freaking knows? And yes, he's not going to be at 100%. That's not going to be perfect. But we have shown with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey on the floor, they can beat just about anyone in the league. Why would you not? Even if it's just a 5% chance of making a deep run, you can't look at that at Joel Embiid, who just turned 30, and tell him, no, don't take that chance. Don't make that playoff run. Don't go up against teams that you can beat because we're paranoid. That's just not the way it's going to happen.
Provolone John says, Legs, Tim Legler, ESPN, and ALLCITY's NBA show with Adam Mars was pointing out that once Embiid does come back, it will change everything in the Eastern Conference.
Go back to this show right before he got injured. Kyle was sitting here almost laughing at the Bucks for hiring Doc Rivers and saying they don't scare me. Now, look, Doc Rivers has made the Bucks better, and this is something we said at the time. He is not a perfect coach. We all know his faults, but he is an upgrade. There was a base level of confidence that he has brought to that franchise, and they've been playing better basketball. They've been running more pick and roll with Dame. He's been playing better basketball because of it. They are a better team with some faults in their coaching and in their personnel. But still, go back. They don't scare you the way that maybe Boston does, the way that typical number 2 seeds do. They're a team that has gotten older. They're a team that has less depth, and they're a team still trying to figure each other out with a coach who is not perfect in the postseason. We'll just leave it at that. There's nobody that really terrifies you when the way Joel Embiid was playing, with the way that Tyrese Maxey was playing off of him, and with the way that Buddy Hield. I do think once you get that sort of base level and that sort of core to play off of, I think Buddy Hield will be a key piece that they didn't have earlier on in the season. This is a team who, if Joel Embiid comes back, if he was at 100%, I would say they're the second best team in the East. You don't expect them to be at 100%, so there's going to be some uncertainty, but in no way are they going to punt that just because you're down on the team right now because they can't find a way to win with Kelly Oubre and Nick Batum featuring. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, man. If they get it, look at how we were talking about them before he went down when he was healthy. Now, he would have to come back and he would be maybe not 100%, but still somewhere in that 75, 80, 85%. But him on the floor, period, changes a lot of things. Tyrese Maxey talked about this. I think it was after the Clippers game when he was saying that, look, we're holding up. We're doing what we're doing. We're getting these wins. We're putting these wins together. We're getting things done. And I was listening to one of the things that he said during the post-game interview against the Clippers, and he pointed out, hey, eventually we're going to get this big guy back who can drop 40 at any time. And when you do that, it opens things up for him, Tobias Harris, certainly the Buddy Hield conversation that we had at the top. You move players back into their roles where maybe Kelly Oubre is coming off the bench or Buddy Hield is in the starting lineup, whatever it is, Nick Batum, whatever it is, so many things fall into place when that guy is in the place and he makes things that much easier.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line. And then with that, the other team fears and scared. He scares the hell out of other teams. You know who he will probably scare the hell out of? Doc Rivers.
Yes.
Because he knows. Training camp. James Harden, sideline conversation. NBA TV is chronicling the whole thing. This is not a democracy. He knew where the ball was going. He knows where the ball is going to go, but that just means that it's going to throw everything out of whack for the defense in trying to slow him down. And then, by the way, you got another all-star who can go off for 40 in a game. Yeah. We saw him go off for 40 in a playoff game. He's already done that. So if he does, and when we say if and when, it's just because I say if and when, and Derek and Kyle speak a certain way also, because look, there is a chance that he might not be able to play. But if and when is just to be more cautious because he is not back. There are 10 games, and then there's the play-in and the playoffs. There's a chance that he might not be back in uniform. But if and when he does, or I would lean more towards when he does, this is a totally different conversation. And it just goes with the season, how interesting the season would be for him to miss all that time, to come back, be the MVP leading candidate when he leaves, come back. We see the importance of him to this basketball team, and some people kind of pull back on all the criticism that they have about the way that he plays because he's not there, and you see the big difference in the wins and losses when he's not out there on the floor. And he comes back and he potentially gets back into that MVP form and leads this team as as a maybe 7, 8 seed, 6 seed at best, and lead them to a second round, and we see where things go from there. Let's see how we talk about that in the offseason and how this story could end, because they would be the East would be in flux then if he's back.
Yeah. It really does feel like people are just overreacting to the fact that we have hit sort of like the floor of the season, and it's hard to see out of that.
Yeah, well,
which brings us to our next sponsor, Empire Today. If you're like me, you've probably had a long list of projects to do. Now it's starting to get nice out. You get a little bit of motivation. You get doing it. If flooring is one of those projects, Empire Today is who you will want to call. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but they can't beat Empire Today on quality, service, or speed, so they advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire Today keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need, not to overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire Today's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. And Empire Today has a virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. Shopping for floors at a big box store can be frustrating. You might talk to someone today who was working in plumbing yesterday. Flooring is all Empire Today does. They live and breathe flooring, so you can be confident you're getting honest, upfront advice. Empire Today also services their own warranties. So with Empire Today, you won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY for details. No, look, it sort of surprises me how defeatist people get. I wonder if at some point it's just a coping strategy, because if I don't get my hopes up, then I can't be hurt. Yeah. I wonder if part of it is just that people like feeling like they are right or first on something, so they will say something outrageous or something that has a high chance of happening just so they can then be like, aha, I was right. And it's like, yeah, if you get defeatist about a basketball team, only one team wins the title, so you have a real good chance of being like, aha, I told you it wasn't going to work out.
Right.
And I just don't understand. It seems like the internet has changed the way we almost approach fandom, in a way of like, I want to be known as being right or early on something, or just, how about you enjoy basketball? I don't know. You have a chance of watching the best or one of the 3 or 5 best basketball players in the world come back and lead you on a championship run. How about you dream a little bit? Like, where's that sort of like romanticism gone? I don't get it. I just don't get the defeatist attitude about everything.
Yeah,
I really don't.
And
the best freaking reigning MVP was playing an MVP level. You're like, just sit down. Why even bother? Like,
right.
What's the fucking point of all this? I don't get it.
I've known you for a long time, and one of the things I would always say to people is, number one, you can't fast forward the season. It's 82 games. Enjoy the whole run of the 82, because so many things happen in it. You got a playoff. You got another all-star on your team that emerged into an all-star that maybe you didn't believe he was capable of getting there.
Playing fantastic freaking basketball too.
Maybe you didn't know. Maybe you had no idea. I mean, we had a little fun run of 2 weeks of Ricky Council, just fun.
Yeah.
Where led us sitting down and having a conversation with him and kind of picking his brain and learning more about the person and how he thinks as a player. You never know what happens within the run of an actual season. So now that we are here, this is their pathway. This is their challenge. We have a new coach that Nick Nurse, it's up to you, my man. How are you going to get this done? How are you going to turn this around and get them to, again, why you came here, to be a legitimate contending team of winning the Eastern Conference, potentially, and getting to the NBA Finals? That's what the story is all about. That's why we love the game, because we love the game. Now you love a team as a fan to see if your team can win. This is how stuff happens.
And look,
can they overcome some things
yes,
and become a championship level team again?
I get being a skeptic. I'm naturally skeptical. You have to prove me out, prove it to me enough to draw me out of my skepticism. So skepticism, I get. Like, skeptical that Embiid will come back and be 100%, skeptical that they'll have time to gel, skeptical that they have enough depth around him or enough defense or what have you. I get all of the skepticism. but the doom and gloom is just, it's baffling to me a little bit. It truthfully is baffling to me a little bit.
Hypothetical man says, I mean, the season was fun when Embiid was playing. It's been miserable since he left the lineup.
Sure.
That just goes to when Kyle goes off on his. You see how important that guy is? You see now?
Turns out he was MVP for a reason.
Yeah, he was, man. Well, you've been an MVP, of course, here in this one. And so have all of our people who joined us here on this day off. We have 3 more post-game shows here this week. This was our only 2:30 non-game day show this week. And we have, I think we're probably only going to have one next week, too, because there are more games next week where we have post games as we get ready to shut this thing down in the regular season and get ready for the postseason, a different type of run than we're accustomed to because we're normally looking at a top 3 or 4 seed in the East. This time they'll be on the latter part of that. That said, it's been fun always joining you. We have a lot of people to thank here. We've been so scrambled and not being in here, and there's some other things going on in our offices where I didn't even bring the bell in here because we didn't get a chance to go and get it. Because
I don't have my soundboard, so we can't add a bell in. We're all.
Bree might have one. You never know.
We need to get a bell for Bree. There you go.
You never know. Well,
then again, we wouldn't be able to hear that, so it would be hard for us to react to it. So, well, I don't know.
We get the bell in the chat too. Al will throw up the bell.
Really, what we mean is next time you just got to do better.
Fair point. Yeah. Fair point.
We do want to make sure we thank Real Time. Real Time dropped us a super chat.
Yes,
Appreciate you. Appreciate you always tuning in as well. We also have Philly Insider Podcast, Coach Joel Ricketts, Mark Jackson.
What up, Coach?
Spiral Out. Mama, there goes that man. Provolone John. What was he? He just had a story recently about Barkley. Did you see a story about Barkley?
Who?
The real Mark Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Where he talked about going to the league office. Speaking of David Stern.
About betting, yeah.
About betting.
Yeah.
Oh, not the right time for that.
No, but it was funny.
That was funny. It was a great story.
Might go check that one out.
It was a great story.
I'll bet you that it was Charles' line. I'll bet you they don't kick us out.
I bet you they don't kick us out the league. Yeah.
Spiral Out, Provolone John, Dominique Brown, Dave D, Chrissy Ish, Hypothetical Man, Liam Stevens.
What up, Liam?
Phil W, Bootzilla.
Phil Boots.
Dan Murphy, Front Running Fan Base, Neil, Smy Guy, some guy called
What
Devon
up, Smy
Givens.
Guy? Got the bucket hat on. Bucket, though.
Got Devon Givens in chat instead of doing some work. That's fine. Fusion, Ken Wilson, second round exit fan. Don't love you, although you might be optimistic this year.
Yeah.
Billy, I think that's all that I have written down here. If I missed you, I apologize about that.
What up, everybody? Philly Insider
Appreciate
Pass.
you all.
What up, RJ? I like to, throw some flames in the fire. What up, the boy, RJ? It's always fun. What up, Al?
Dan McGlade popping in there at the end. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking in, especially since we just did a show like 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
Quick turnaround time, but thank you all for jumping on.
And we'll be back tomorrow following the Sixers and the Clippers, part 2. Clippers' little revenge, maybe, as they come back. What's the reception, folks, going to be for James Harden when he's introduced by Matt Cord in front of all the Sixer fans, the sellout crowd on a Wednesday night?
I mean, I think you know what the
I know what the reaction is
you've
going
been
to
in Philly
be.
for long enough.
Yeah, I know what that one's going to be. So everybody, enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll talk to you after the game. Make sure you like and subscribe, and when you do, you'll get that bell icon. Ding! There it is, right there. And everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you Wednesday following the game. And we'll be back after that again, Deke's Barbecue. So we're just letting you know, reminding you, plan early so you can be with us on Friday night at Deke's Barbecue and we can get some grub and watch some basketball.
Freaking A. It's the best kind of watching basketball.
Thank you, Bree. Have a good day, everybody.
Y'all silly like the mayor.